Welcome to You Don't Know Ball. Today we're going to be doing a mock draft reaction. This is Adam Ranks, who's an NFL writer. He's also a Bears homer. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. Thank you guys so much for all the support we've been getting. Honestly, the channel's been growing so fast, and we've been doing a lot of mock content, and to see it pay off really means a lot. Mocks by ourselves, mock draft reactions, things like that. I know it's kind of overload right now. We're trying to really get as much out as we can, obviously before we move into that part of the off season where it's just kind of talk. So we want to try to get as much engaging content out now. Not to say that we won't. We'll still be uploading daily, but at the same time, it's just a little bit more exciting now than it's going to be the next couple months. So we're trying to do as much as we can. So Adam Rank says, if you're new here, first, let me say welcome. More importantly, this isn't a predictive mock. I don't play the unwinnable game. No disrespect to all these other guys. It's just not my bag. Instead, what I do as a resident know-it-all is offer recommendations to the organization. So basically, Adam Rank is going to be playing GM for all 32 teams here. So let's get off. Let's get started here with number one. We have the Bears taking Caleb Williams. So, as a Bears fan, you can make the argument that, he's just saying like what he wants. But at the end of the day, Caleb Williams to the Bears is pretty consensus at this point. And I don't really know what there is to say. I know what he's saying here makes a lot of sense. He says, if you got rid of Justin Fields for a smaller Justin Fields, Jaden Daniels, I'm out. Yeah, I would agree. If we moved on from Justin Fields just to take Jaden Daniels, I don't know. I guess you restart the quarterback market. Makes sense, but you've surrounded Caleb with weapons, so you might as well get the quarterback that is the pretty much consensus number one guy. At number two, we have the Washington Commanders taking Jaden Daniels, and I'm interested to see what he has to say about Jaden Daniels here, because if he's comparing him to Justin Fields, why would you not go with a guy like Drake May? So he said Daniels should be the second player off the board. That's why I have him listed here. But I'm telling you, Commanders, you are not a quarterback away from seriously competing. You could be next year. If you were to take multiple first-round picks from the Vikings in exchange for this selection, or if the Broncos Raiders are willing to give you a haul like the Panthers shelled out for Bryce Young. So actually, I think that's not a bad idea. And I don't know why he didn't just do the trade here. But, they aren't a quarterback away. They have time, and that's why I kind of think it's almost worth it to take Drake May, because he's a little bit more developmental than, I'm not saying he's a developmental quarterback, but you have to develop him a little bit more than a Jaden Daniels. So I guess my thing is, why would you not take the guy that you got to develop if you're not a quarterback away? I don't know. Number three, we have the New England Patriots not going quarterback and going wide receiver instead with Marvin Harrison Jr. You're in even worse shape than Commanders despite picking behind them. Don't reach for a quarterback here. I know you did pretty well with the Michigan man under center in the past, but that kind of thing never works a second time. Did you not see independent? All right, whatever. Anyway, I think they should probably trade down here. And he said, trade this pick if you can. Get the haul before the Cardinals do. If not, you can take Marvin Harrison Jr. And hey, given how many fits his father gave you, this can provide them with some catharsis. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go best player available, taking Marvin here at 3 makes a lot of sense. I think if you're not going to be taking a quarterback, you might as well trade out to get a haul, because this team is so far away from being able to compete. You're going to need all the draft capital you can get. At number 4, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Malik Nabers. Yeah, so if Malik Nabers is the next best wide receiver available, you have to take him. I mean, I think the Cardinals could also trade out of this pick here because, and he mentions that there, because if Drake May is still on the board at 4, you can definitely get a haul. Obviously, Nabers is super talented and would have been wide receiver 1 last year and 1 in a lot of years. It just happens to be he's in a class with Marvin Harrison. So I think this is a good pick for the Cardinals, especially if Marvin Harrison Jr. is off the board. I think I would have preferred them to trade down. At number 5, We have the Los Angeles Chargers taking Talisa Fuanga. Yeah, I mean, like I said, again, if the trade is available, take it. But Fuanga kind of fits what they want to do. I think, if you want to get more aggressive, if you want to run the ball, then this is the guy you're looking for. He's decent in pass protection too. Obviously the run game is really his strength. And, some people have him over Joe Alt as the best tackle in the class. So if you're not going to go wide receiver here and you're going to go tackle, which, if you've heard Jim Harbaugh's comments, he's all about the O-line, I think could make a lot of sense. At number 6, we have the New York Giants going Joe Alt. So I don't love this pick because my thing is you've invested so much into the O-line. Even if you haven't hit, it's kind of like, okay, let's work on a different position group. He said you need a receiver, that's for sure. I wouldn't argue if you scooped one up here. But look at the recent rise of the Lions who built through the trenches. Yeah, but I guess my issue with the difference between the Lions and the Giants is the team, one, is a lot more talented, and two, they were able to hit on late round players, not late round players, but just like not first round players to be contributors to the team. I think, they have a lot of people underrate Jared Goff, but he's still pretty good. So I don't think the Giants and the Lions are necessarily in the same boat, but I don't disagree with adding Joe Alt. I think, would you have to play him at right tackle then? And then, Andrew Thomas sticks at left. My thing is I don't really like moving guys around. I don't think that does anybody really any favors. And would you kick Evan Neal inside? I think this pick is just too complicated to make. Yes, you're getting probably the best tackle, in my opinion, in the draft, but there's too much moving around where you could affect other players that could make your line worse. So, I don't know. Andrew Thomas and Joe Alt will be monsters on your line, but at the cost of what it could do, I don't know. At number 7, we have the Tennessee Titans taking Olu Fashanu. Yeah, I like the pick. I think tackle's the pick here, and with Fuanga and Alt off the board, I guess Fashanu is the best option. I also think you could probably trade down if this is your option. I don't know if he's going to be going top 10. Obviously, you beef up the line. I say this every fucking video. Your line is not that bad if you add a left tackle. Obviously, you need, right guard, right tackle. I don't think their interior is horrible after, Skronsky and Cushenberry. But, you get a really good pass protector. My thing is, if they want to run the ball, that's where I get a little bit concerned. I just don't think he's the greatest run blocker. I think he has time to improve. But I think for pass protection, you are giving Will Levis a good amount of time. At number 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking Dallas Turner. In a 3-4 defense, I think he fits more than in a 4-3. He could play outside linebacker. He goes, you have the chance to do the funniest thing of all time right here and draft Brock Bowers. Imagine Brock Bowers and Kyle Pitts on the same team, just getting underutilized. Obviously, different offensive coordinator. We have Zach Robinson there instead of Arthur Smith, the destroyer of production for individual players. But he goes, then again, we all know you continue to encounter on an annual basis. You can't get the quarterback. They got Kirk Cousins. They added some wide receivers in free agency. They add a defensive piece, which they desperately need. Their defensive line is kind of old, so you get potentially the best edge in the class. I personally lean a little bit more Jared versus Latu. I think Turner is good, but I just don't believe in the top 10 hype for him personally. At number 9, we have the Chicago Bears taking Rome Odunze. I think it's a pretty good fit because, I think if all the players off the board, the top 3 receivers, the top tackle, and I think if either of those guys are off the board, I think you trade down. But the fact that Rome Odunze falls here, I think is perfect because something that I was thinking about is okay, yes, you have Keenan Allen. Yes, you have DJ Moore. Keenan Allen's only here for 1 year. You're damn near drafting for 2025. Like, get a guy that can develop with Caleb because DJ Moore's locked up for the next 2 years, I believe. But at the end of the day, like, he's still young, and he probably has another contract in him. But you want to make sure you have a young guy in the building, and you're with like a guy that can be a superstar. So I think this is a good pick for them. At number 10, we have the New York Jets taking Brian Thomas Jr. I think this is a little high for them, and I think they could definitely have used a lineman like a Fautanu. And he says, I know you could use an influx of talent at offensive tackle, especially in the long view. Like, okay, yeah. That said, I think you actually need more help at wide receiver. Garrett Wilson is a dude, but Mike Williams coming off a significant injury. Yeah, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr., Garrett Wilson, and Mike Williams would be nice. I think you could trade down and get that and maybe recoup a second-round pick because you desperately need it. At number 11, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking J.J. McCarthy. So if you don't have to trade up and Drake May is available at 11 and you take J.J. McCarthy, I think you are putting your job on the line quite a bit because it's not necessarily the idea of what JJ could be over a Drake May. It's the optics of it. And if I'm a Vikings fan and they take JJ over Drake and JJ doesn't pan out and Drake does, it's kind of like oh my Lord, we passed up on the easy selection. So he says, listen, Vikings, I wouldn't trade up for a quarterback. There's a good chance someone falls. I don't see quarterbacks coming off the board with the first 4 picks. Never happened before and won't happen now. In this scenario, you have your choice between Drake May and McCarthy. I don't know, but it seems like McCarthy is most Vikings-like quarterback in this draft. I would say the reason it probably feels like that is because he is the one that's probably going to be available. I think in a heartbeat, they would take Drake May over J.J. McCarthy. At number 12, the Broncos are screaming and jumping for joy with Drake May going number 12. Obviously, if he falls to 12, I think Sean Payton might sprint out there himself and, announce the pick. Because this is ridiculous. Drake May falling to 12, I think like one of the quarterbacks will fall. I don't think it's going to be Drake May. And they need a quarterback. They need help. I think this is probably the best route for them. If he's available at 12, you couldn't be happier with how draft night panned out, especially without a second-round pick. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Brock Bowers. What the fuck? So, you might be tempted to go quarterback here. I get it, but I also believe you can get by with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. Hell, Minshew nearly led the Colts to the playoffs last year. Cornerback is another position you could target. An offensive line needs help. But I love Bowers in this spot as a top 10 talent going to a team that could use more playmakers. Luke Getsy liked to use 12 personnel with the Bears last year. Yeah, but you took Mayer last year in the second. I know Adams is getting older, but you also have Jacoby Myers. So I just don't see this as a pick that they make at all. And it would kind of be weird when you obviously have more positions of need. And obviously, you're probably going to go get a quarterback in the second now if this is the scenario. But I don't know. I've never seen Bowers to the Raiders in a mock, and maybe it happens, but I just don't love this fit for them. At number 14, we have the New Orleans Saints taking Troy Fautanu. Honestly, I like this pick a lot because, they do need help on the interior. They need help at the tackle position. They're a team kind of like the Jets where it's like they're an injury away from, and now they're not even an injury away. They are away from having like a good O-line. If Fautanu could add relief really at any position. So I think this is honestly one of the, if Fashanu's gone, is probably a perfect pick for the Saints. At number 15, we have the Indianapolis Colts taking Adonai Mitchell, which is ridiculously high for him. I shouldn't say ridiculously. It is a bit high. I think Adonai Mitchell is probably an end of the first round type of guy. But you add speed next to Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs. I mean, Josh Downs is already fast. This is a spot I would have loved for Brock Bowers as well. He says that, and Brian Thomas Jr. Obviously, both those guys are off the board, but you just want to give Anthony Richardson as many weapons as you can to develop him. So I think this is probably best case scenario for the way the board has fallen. I think you could have traded down and got him, but at the end of the day, good pick for the Colts. At number 16 for the Seattle Seahawks, they are taking Jared Verse. Kind of weird because obviously he mentions they don't have a pick until pick 81 after this, but they've already kind of invested in D-line quite a bit, like edge picks. They've invested seconds in them, and I know they don't have any like studs, but like they have decent players. And while I think Verse is a great player and could play well for them, I think, he said you folks could use an offensive lineman, sure, but if you get a chance to land a top 10 talent like Verse in this spot, I don't see how you pass that up. I see how you pass it up. Your O-line collapses every play. So that's kind of my opinion on this pick. At number 17, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Terrion Arnold. Honestly, if they're able to get Terrion Arnold, pair him with Tyson Campbell, he is the best corner in the draft, in my opinion. I would love to see it. So great pick here for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Makes a lot of sense. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Byron Murphy. Honestly, I love this pick. You could go tackle because, you want to have a succession plan for Trent Brown. I was like, I know they have the same last name. That's not adding up. I was thinking Junior was the last name. That's wrong. Byron Murphy and Sheldon Rankins playing on the interior. That's an instant impact. And the thing I think I want to work on with the Bengals is either the trenches or the wide receiver position, because my thing is your cornerback room is pretty good, and you need to impact the other team's quarterback in order to win the game. You have a high-powered offense. You can score points, but you want to make sure the other team can't, and Byron Murphy helps you do that. So I really like this pick, especially for being, one of the top interior defensive linemen here. Good pick by the Bengals. At number 19, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking Quinyon Mitchell. This is a great pick for them, in my opinion, because you add a cornerback one who you don't really, you have Tre'Davious White, but you need youth and top tier talent at that position, and I think that's what Quinyon Mitchell can give you. And if you don't force him to be CB1 right away because White is there, I think you have a good chance of developing him into a really special player. I have them as like CB1B with Terrion Arnold. I think this is a great pick for the Rams. At number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Jackson Powers-Johnson. I think this is a great pick for them just because it's like you can play all three interior positions. They need to fix that center position. He's probably the best. I think him and Graham Barton are the top interior guys. Like I said, I think it's kind of split down the middle. I think I give the edge to Graham Barton because he can also play tackle. I don't see Jackson Powers-Johnson playing tackle. And, you give whoever's playing quarterback back there, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, like, security and knowing that the line isn't going to collapse like immediately when the ball is snapped. So overall, good pick by the Pittsburgh Steelers, definitely a need. 21 to the Miami Dolphins taking Graham Barton. This is probably my favorite pick of the draft here. Teron Armstead, Austin Jackson are your tackles. Teron Armstead, I don't know about his health, and they do need help on the interior, so he's someone that could start for you at guard, and then at the same time, if Teron Armstead gets hurt, he can kick out and help you in a pinch. 5-position versatility gives these guys a lot of value, and that's why I could also see the Steelers taking him instead. I think he's less of a center, obviously, than Jackson Powers-Johnson, but with the issue that the Steelers have at tackle currently, and with the way the tackle class kind of falls off after the first round, I think Steelers would have been better off probably taking a tackle. At number 22, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Cooper DeJean. I like this pick a lot because he can play safety, he can play DB. You're going to put some youth into that cornerback room that desperately needs it. I think this is a pick that the Eagles fans are kind of screaming for, which makes a lot of sense. He's a versatile guy who can play a lot of positions in your defensive secondary. At number 23, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking Latu. If they're able to get a quarterback and a top edge in this class, Holy shit, good job, Vikings. I know I was shitting on them a little bit for taking J.J. McCarthy. Well, they didn't take him. Adam Rank took him. But Latu, honestly, without the medicals, is probably edge one in this class. And as much as I hate to say it, I wouldn't be surprised if he falls to very early second just because of how scary the medicals are. But he hasn't really been injured in the last 2 years that he's been back. So I don't know. But I think this adds a great addition to the Vikings locker room. I think Brian Flores would be floored with this pick. At number 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys taking J.C. Latham. I really like this pick because I think they need a guy that can play guard. I think they need a guy that can play tackle. And obviously, you get some versatility here with Latham, probably one of the strongest guys in the class. I think this makes a lot of sense for them. Going trenches is just a need. It's something they have to do. So I think it is a great pick for the Dallas Cowboys. At number 25, we have the Green Bay Packers taking Amarius Mims. I like this pick a lot. I know Packers fans probably won't because they don't like taking O-lineman first round. But Amarius Mims is a guy who, if you develop him correctly, can be a top 5 tackle in the league. He has the skills. He has the strength. He has the size. He has the speed. And the Packers are known. See, this is what I don't get. You guys are known for developing mid-round guys and making them very good players. Why do you think that if you take a guy that has a lot of potential that you can't develop him into a top-tier guy? Wouldn't you want that? I think, obviously, if he doesn't have to play right away and you can develop him, I think that is a great, great spot to take Amarius Mims. At number 26, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Chop Robinson. I like this pick a lot. If all the top 3 edges are off the board, you give an explosive edge to Todd Bowles to work. That D-line definitely needs help. Obviously, Shaq Barrett is gone. You could also go, wide receiver here. I don't really think that's much of a need, especially in the first round. Adding to that defense, even going corner here would make sense. But Chop Robinson, very, very good pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At number 27, we have the Arizona Cardinals taking Jerzon Newton. Honestly, if Jerzon Newton is here and he is able to come into that defense and make an instant impact, which I think he can, this is a great pick for the Arizona Cardinals to get one of the top defensive line players and the top receiver in the draft. Makes so much sense. Jerzon Newton, Byron Murphy, very good interior defensive line players, and I think, they got Malik Neighbors. I forgot. Either way, great draft for the Cardinals. At number 28, we have the Buffalo Bills taking Xavier Worthy. Honestly, it feels like the Bengals, Bills, or Chiefs are going to end up with Worthy and they definitely need a wide receiver 1. And if Adonai Mitchell and Brian Thomas Jr. are off the board, Xavier Worthy, I don't like the idea of him being wide receiver 1 though. Like going into the year, I think he could really struggle. I think he needs a certified wide receiver 1 to be good, and I think in a place where he could play next to Jamar Chase or next to a Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, I think he might be better off. So while I do like the pick to the Bills, I think they have to make a move for more of a wide receiver 1 as well. At number 29, we have the Detroit Lions taking Ennis Rakestraw. Yeah, I don't really like it with Cooling McKinstry and Nate Wiggins on the board. I know Rakestraw is a physical guy, but I just don't think he's a first round guy. So while the Lions, yes, do need cornerback help, I don't know if this is the corner for them. At number 30, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking Nate Wiggins. If Nate Wiggins falls to 30 and you can get him, I think that is such a simple pick. Very, very athletic, very long. If he can put on a little bit of weight, he'll be very, very good in the league. At number 31, we have the San Francisco 49ers going Tyler Guyton. Obviously, Colton McKivitz needs to be upgraded. He's signed through 2025. Guyton is a project, so he can kind of develop. They don't need to start him right away, but maybe they're looking at him as the successor to McKivitz or Trent Williams, who you don't know how long he's going to play. I think with the right team like a 49ers, Guyton can develop into being something special, so I get the O-line pick here. At number 31, we have the Kansas City Chiefs taking Ladd McConkey. So yeah, I like this pick for the Chiefs to pair with Rashee Rice and to pair with Travis Kelce. I also wouldn't be surprised if they trade down a little bit into the second, get another pick, and then take a wide receiver a little bit later, just because I think Lad McConkey and the next group of receivers, there's not like a huge gap between them all. So overall, good mock draft by Adam Rank. There was a couple curveballs in there, but that is what you'd basically expect from Adam Rank. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I'll be back later today with another mock draft madness day 40, and then I'll have another mock draft reaction tomorrow. So thank you.